And we're joined by Professor Cyrille Cohen, the head of the Laboratory of Immunotherapy at Bar Ilan University. Thanks for being with us. As always, appreciate your expertise here. It appears at this point that we're to see boosters distributed every 5 to 6 months or even less at this point. Is that what we're in for?
Hello, David. No, it's very early to say if this will be the case. Right now, it is, I would say, a possible scenario. We don't know yet. At least, it's dependent on the type of vaccines we will have and also dependent on the type of variants we will encounter. So I think it's too early to say that every 4, 5, 6 months we need a booster shot. Also, we don't have, I would say, full-scale understanding of the effectiveness of a full shot against, variants, et cetera, et cetera. So I think it's too early to say.
Now, on this innovative technology using the mRNA mechanism here, within your field now, is there starting to be some criticism on this as perhaps not being the right way to go about this, having too short of a time period where it's effective?
Yeah, no, I agree to some extent. We need better vaccines. To some extent, perhaps, vaccines that, will be nasal vaccines that will better mimic, the virus, etc., and will generate an immunity in our lungs better than what we have. But, don't underestimate the mRNA vaccine. So far, it has been a revolution. It has saved countless lives. And so far, it has been the best ways we have to protect ourselves from COVID-19. So perhaps we need better, vaccines, but still, these are quite efficient vaccines.
And I believe voicing the thoughts or opinions of many out there, Finance Minister Avigdor Liberman, somewhat controversially in the government meetings, referred to Omicron as being like the flu at this point. What's your response to that sentiment?
My response is that, the Minister of Finances should take care of the finances and let, the experts, in the medical and biological field take care of the virus. That's what I can say. I don't think it is justified to call this Omicron a common cold or a flu because, more and more data is coming, from the UK, for example, and South Africa, that even if it might be milder, it is definitely COVID, and people are dying from this Omicron variant.
And why again, or how and why? Again, we're seeing Israel out front on the issue of the vaccines here, even when other countries such as the United Kingdom with their advanced system are suffering much worse under the new variant. Why is Israel, again, the leader with this decision on the 4th booster?
Again, this is a decision only of the experts. We'll need to hear more from the director of the Ministry of Health. But I think that Israel, where we were the first to vaccinate, to immunize massively, while, the vaccine was available to almost everyone, but we were the first to vaccinate, I would say, massively in January last year. And therefore, from there on, we are always in advance, meaning even for the third shot. And right now we are seeing a slight waning of the immunity conferred by the third shot, especially for the older population, especially against contamination, not against severe cases. And therefore, we are trying to get prepared to what's next.
And in terms of the ongoing efforts to implement public restrictions that are effective, we're still seeing numbers go up, some 1,300 new infections again yesterday. Are the right restrictions in place for now in the public, or is there something more that can be done?
I think that it is very difficult. I think that people, in general are tired of those restrictions, but, it's very difficult to enact some restrictions when you just said, the number of cases is not that high to some extent. We knew worse than that, but this is actually the moment when we need to do some, because after that it will be too late. So I think that we can do more in terms of restrictions. But on the other hand, we're trying to live with COVID-19, and we are in a scenario where we don't know what will happen with the Omicron. So we need to take precautions, but that doesn't mean that we will need to kill the economy, kill social, I would say, interactions, etc. at this moment. So therefore, I think that we're trying to do our best. I think that the most important thing that we are not doing enough in Israel right now is to enforce the current regulations we have. I don't think we need more regulations right now, but we need to enforce the measures.